And we are live. Welcome to yet another episode of this YouTube series where we, as Luna.ai, are interviewing 100 sales professionals to learn everything there is to learn about their way of working and what they're looking for in the ideal SaaS tool. And of course, to have them share a lot of their very interesting insights for our viewers. My name is Nelemans. We're having this conversation together with Declan today, and I'm really looking forward to it. But before I give him the floor, I just want to give for the new people here a quick overview of what we're building right now with Luna. So as we said, we want to build the ultimate sales AI. We're really focused on top of funnel work right now, where we're using AI to find your perfect leads to scrape the entire internet. So basically to find everything there is to find about these prospects and then use that information to write mind-blowing sales emails that actually converts. And of course, we want to do much more than that. And this is the reason why we set up this YouTube series. So Declan, welcome to this series. Really excited for this interview. Could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and about Churned?
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, good to be here and looking forward to it. But yeah, obviously, I'm Declan. I'm currently an account executive at Churned. Yeah, just briefly on Churned. Churned is an AI-driven customer success platform. So, I mean, I know everyone's familiar with the pre-sales tools like or platforms like HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive. Then we that's all for pre-sales, also holding customers and everything. You can use it post-sales, but it's not focused on post-sales, and that's where we Churn falls. Being able to help you with seeing who's at risk of your customers, who you can upsell, all of that. But yeah, basically, an introduction on me is that I, obviously being an AE, lead deal cycles from start to finish. So like 360 AE, also doing the prospecting, the dirty work and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, getting my hands dirty, but it's good. The little introduction you gave there. I think what you're doing at the moment with like one of the biggest time consumers is definitely like prospecting. It takes up a lot of time. Like you're like, cool, I'm gonna add 10 prospects and do a bit of do research on them too, and that can take up so much time. And then
Especially
also
if you
coming
want to
up,
do it right.
yeah, exactly. And then the next part is coming up with emails that are personal to them, and a tool like yours can just pick up things off the internet, and it's pretty similar to Churned. Like what our philosophy is, like let machines do what or let machines do what they're good at, and then humans can do the rest. All those mundane, repetitive tasks. It's like it just can be like look at ChatGPT, it just pulls things off the internet, and then you've got answers in a couple seconds. So
100%.
yeah,
100%. That's also what I use ChatGPT for mostly. It's just like, hey, write like summarize this, or like, and then I just give a
yeah,
link because I'm too lazy to read. Or what I also do is when I want to like figure something out, or like write an email, or like test some new stuff for Luna, I just have like ChatGPT scrape an entire website and like summarize this or
yeah.
give me a company description or something
No,
like
no,
that, which is awesome.
it's amazing. Yeah, I promise you, it's really amazing. One thing it hasn't been too good at, and that's where your company, I'm sure, will be amazing at, is when you wanted to come up with emails. It's not like it's not the most like that's where I don't really use it, but everything else I use it for. I mean,
Yeah.
anything you want to basically know, you can find there.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but
And
yeah,
that's an interesting topic that you touch upon there, because I think the main thing for AI is that it's awesome at doing a lot of stuff. Okay, like it's doing a lot of stuff
yeah, yeah,
well, but if you really want to be able to outperform AI and generative AI at the moment where it is right now with GPT-4 and stuff, is that you
yeah,
need to find like a niche where you are the expert in, where there is stuff that you know from experience that is not that you're not able to find on the internet. And that's
yeah,
one of the things that indeed we've been doing with Luna. But there are a lot of different examples where companies can outperform GPT-4, but you really need to be like an expert into, like, you
yeah,
basically
yeah.
need to know how it works better than GPT-4 right now, which is
No.
an increasingly challenging task.
Yeah, but I think as you mentioned, it's more general. ChatGPT is just there for everything, basically, but not it won't go in depth. Not maybe in depth is not the right word, but like if you wanted to formulate an email to this customer, it's just going to come up with what it thinks is good. Whereas with Luna, it knows about maybe information about this person. It knows your company quite well, so it starts like taking it to another level, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is good.
Awesome.
It's super time consuming. That like very very time consuming.
Exactly. 100%. Awesome. Let's dive a bit more into Churned. Like it was interesting. You called yourself a 360 AE, like responsible for the entire sales funnel. Are you working on post sales as well, or is that someone else in the team?
No, so it's the 360. It maybe is the not the fully correct term, but I know in my last company you were referred to as a 360 like business development manager, which is the same as an AE. But I know some AEs are just taking the meetings, closing the deals, negotiating. The 360 I was referring to is also I'm also then doing the prospecting and all of that. But then it stops at once a deal is closed, it's moved over to like the account management, customer success kind of team.
Gotcha.
So
And they're using Churned as well, right?
through the no 100%. We actually haven't had in the B2B SaaS space actually we haven't had a churned customer, which is good. Like it's in the name, you got to kind of live up to your name. So yeah.
Wow. So none of your customers have churned yet. That's
No,
none of your ICP customers.
Yeah, exactly. Which is good. Yeah.
That's a pretty good flex.
Yeah. No, it is nice.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. And your ICP is then B2B SaaS companies, right?
Yeah, it's mainly B2B SaaS companies. Like 50
Is there
to
also
2.
another use case? Like what kind of companies have churned? That's an interesting one.
Like so we're in 3 kind of industries. I don't know if industry is the right word, but it's B2B SaaS, B2C subscription. So I'm sure you know
Gotcha.
from when you were living in the Netherlands was like swap feets around, or it's like body and fit and all, like we can still help out there.
Gotcha.
Body and fit maybe is more the other industry, which is e-commerce. So it's B2B SaaS, B2C subscription, e-commerce. Me coming in there, like my focus is, so obviously we're a Dutch company and it's to grow the international presence. So we've got a sales team of, including myself and Martin, our founder, who's on the commercial side. There's 6 of us and 4 are like SDRs, BDRs, and any meeting that they book outside of the Netherlands, then I just take. So it's with a focus on the UK.
Gotcha.
So right now the ICP for me is UK companies that are B2B SaaS, 50 to 250 or more, 50 to 500, or it's in that range is kind of the ICP at the moment. I think because with Churned, we're integrating with your systems, and with B2B SaaS, everything's online. It's usually like a subscription model, so it's really easy to kind of pick up trends, patterns, behaviors, and everything.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. What did the sales team look like when you first started there?
What did the sales team look like when I first started? There was only 2 people in sales. I only joined 6 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, I think this is my 5th month. So very, very new to Churn still.
Nice.
But now there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not getting this right. There's one that's just started, so there's 4.
No worries.
Me and Martin, so 6 of us. Yeah, 6 of us now.
The team's grown significantly.
Yeah, the team's grown quite a lot, which is nice.
Nice. What was it like for you when you first started there? Like it's of course a fast growing company, but that means that you start when you're very small and trying to figure everything out. Was there already product market fit when you first started?
Yeah, I mean there was like product market fit. I think in terms of what it was like, it was quite a big change for me. In my last company, there was 3,000 employees. Now you come to this company and there's 20. So it's like, at the company before you were just like another, like you were a number in a way. But here, you're like important part of the wheel in a way, and so that was really nice. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I hope that answers your question properly.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Because
Yeah.
I can
It's
also imagine if you first start, especially if you're going from like such a big organization to a smaller one, and there's a lot of like, how is it like? Was there a lot of pressure to perform, especially when you're taking on like new markets and stuff like that? You're trying to figure out like what was the like the setting like?
um it it wasn't a lot of pressure to perform, to be honest. Meetings, like in terms of booking meetings, it happens. I know like it's different at different companies, and after speaking to some of my friends who had I've got a friend who's at Sales Loft, I've got a friend who's here and there, and the amount of meetings that are getting booked at Churned is really good, like the stats and everything. So when I arrived, it was quite high. And when I started, I just, I didn't really think about it much. I just got going, and it just started, going quite fast, which is nice, like in terms of all of that. So the pressure to perform, I think for me, the meeting side was 100%. It was just that I didn't have a lot of experience. I did have a decent amount of experience before as like an AE at another company.
Mm-hmm.
But so in terms of like closing deals and stuff, that was like maybe after like 2 months, 3 months, I was like, okay, like I want to, or like even after 2.5 months, I was like, okay, I want to start closing deals now. But like speaking, it's all about communication and speaking. That's like one of the things with the pressure to perform in the beginning. You just got to communicate. So like I had a meeting with the person who's above me, and I just said, like I'm feeling a bit of pressure, and he was like, no, 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 don't worry. It's been like 2.5, 2 months. Like there's no stress. I know that the SaaS space, tech space it's not like at its strongest in terms of people buying like a lot at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is
yeah,
what I've heard. But it's been successful so far, like in terms of like deals and all of that. So it's been good. Just in the beginning, there was a little bit of pressure, maybe not right in the beginning, but I mean the ways of dealing with that pressure, definitely, well, I reached out to my network in the beginning. So I
nice.
utilized my network, which worked quite well. And also, I think a big thing in the beginning is to focus on like learning the product and just practicing sales demos. And yeah, I did like a sales demo with like my girlfriend, with other people, with like, the founder there, just to practice. So I think yeah.
That's actually a brilliant idea.
No, no,
That's really
no.
cool.
I think whether you've got like whether you got an AE starting, SDR starting, anyone like kind of on the commercial side who's doing like a lot of outbound and all of that should definitely be able to demo the product. It's something that should be, that they do maybe after a month of starting or 2 months of starting, do
Yeah,
a product demo, because it's going to get you to learn fast, or maybe even 3 weeks after starting. I think that's a good way for maybe, like that's obviously how I dealt with maybe pressure to perform. But in terms of like someone like you've founded a company, it's a good way of getting people onto the same level as you, throwing them in the deep end. I mean, it's not with a customer, it's just with you, whether they're an SDR, and then they can just, that's will get them to learn what, the ins and outs of the product very
exactly,
fast. And
exactly.
then I think it'll help their performance,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's actually very interesting. That's also what we've been doing with everyone in the team. It doesn't really matter if you're like on the sales side or operations or developers. The first week, you're just going to send out hundreds of the best emails that you've ever seen, and you're going to read this literature and all of this stuff, and you're going to analyze data of like emails that have been performing well and emails that have not been performing well. But that's like the only thing you do in the first week, apart from like meeting each other and like setting up your email account and stuff
Yeah.
like that, of course. But the funny thing is that as soon as people started doing that, they immediately knew what the problems were that our customers were facing. Like there was, for
Yeah.
example, half a year ago when we first hired our first developer, there was some stuff that we just couldn't get to. We needed more capacity, right? And then in the end, after a week, he's like, "Oh, this is so annoying. I'm just going to fix this right away." And all of our customers were happy because it was finally fixed, right? And then
Yeah,
you have the priorities in the right place. So it's really cool to hear
yeah,
that you've done it, like you've taken it on like that, and that's the way that you handled that pressure.
yeah. No, exactly. But I think a really important thing is communication. So who's ever, I don't know, your boss, if you're a smaller startup like me, your boss who's above you is your founder.
Yeah,
So just speak to them, communicate. Just it's super important
yeah.
as well. Yeah,
I can imagine manage the expectations, tell them about what you, because the
yeah,
cool thing is that it's not that you have to prove yourself. It's basically they also want you to be at your best, right? They also want you to be
yeah,
successful. So if there's something that they can help with to get you to be successful faster, then they're going to jump on it and make it happen right away.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly.
Nice,
So yeah,
awesome, cool. And maybe about this is of course a very interesting subject for us as well. You mentioned that you were like focusing on the full funnel, doing prospecting as well. Did you set up the prospecting funnels yourself, or was it already there when you first started, or like how's that going?
so in terms of it's like, are you referring to setting up maybe tools for prospecting and processes? So there was,
For
I
example,
mean,
yeah,
yeah. When I joined the company, it had already been going for around close to 4 years, like 3.5 years, and there had been salespeople in there. So there was already processes set up. I mean, using LinkedIn, I think is amazing for prospecting. It's probably, I think, the main way that most, I don't know, I don't want to speak for everyone, but from my experience, LinkedIn is just like, it's super, super amazing. So we're already using that. We had just some basic tools. But when I came in, I set up, I did help with prospecting processes a bit. I mean, there were really some solid processes in place, but also the main thing I set up was an outreach tool, which wasn't in place yet.
nice,
Like a outreach.io sales loft type tool. So that was one of the tools that I set up. That's more on outreach, not on prospecting. I'm trying to
yeah,
think. Yeah, that's about
nice.
it. There was already processes in place. I mean, yeah, I think the one of the main things that I was bringing to Churn was obviously expansion into other markets, but also to there wasn't a lot of cold calling happening. So I also do a lot of trainings on that and everything, but
Nice.
also all other things as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What do you see? Like, do you have longer experience with cold calling? Also, like prior to Churn?
Yeah, are you referring to? Did I cold call in my previous company?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I've in my previous company it was you had to cold call and like around 50 calls a day. So I don't know, for some people it
Damn.
might sound like a lot for a lot of salespeople they'll probably be like easy. But it still teaches you a lot.
Yeah,
I know some companies that do 100 calls a day or something like that. But yeah, I learned a lot from that.
nice.
And
Do you
it's
see
just
anything happening, like any trends in cold calling in terms of the effectiveness, like increasing, decreasing, something like that?
definitely. I don't know if it's our prospecting tool or tools, but cold calling just doesn't seem to be working as well as it's kind of like I'm a strong believer in multi-channel outreach. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe that is the best way to do it. I mean, it's not going to hurt you to, maybe you contacting them on LinkedIn to try email and try calling.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I definitely see LinkedIn being the strongest by far. Um, Calling would be second. Emails, yeah, maybe third. But I think that a problem with emails is that there's not enough personalization going on at the moment.
yeah,
Um, and I'm 100% even me too. Like I'll often just send like, not bulk emails, but like definitely not bulk emails. We've got an outreach tool. So it's like
yeah.
managed very like based on types of companies and stuff. And you do fill in a couple things, but it's not like super personalized. And I think that's
It would
something
be a different kind
that,
of email if you had like an
yeah,
hour per email to write it.
exactly. But it's just that from prospecting to getting information to then getting a personalized email to that person in the same day. I don't know, can't really put a timestamp on it, but per lead, if you're really doing research and you kind of then going to come up with an email, you can spend like 20 minutes around about on this person, trying to do all of that stuff, get the notes into your CRM, get the person and like do additional research. I don't know, I'm sure your tool can maybe go as far as to seeing other things that are like maybe articles or something like that, which it can even take up more time.
Exactly.
But I think if that would be possible, then emailing would 100% be up there. I think personalization is key. Like, these people are getting hundreds of emails a week, hundreds of, maybe, I don't know about calls, but LinkedIn's a week as well. And we've been taking a personalized approach with our LinkedIn outreach, which I also brought in, which is sending LinkedIn videos, like a personalized video, which has been working so well. And I think it's
Nice.
clear, like, LinkedIn's working the best. It's the most personalized.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly. And the funny
Any
thing about LinkedIn is also for me, like I caught myself in doing that. That as soon as someone sent a connection request that had some text in it, then I ignore it because like most of the time, like of course there are some times where people just genuinely like want to connect and stuff like that. Then I accept them, but most of the times it's like, hey, awesome company, blah blah blah, and they're like, and then you click accept, and you get like this message with, hey, I just want to ask you this quick question and stuff. So it's interesting. There's been so much outreaching going on and that's also like something, of course, that we're thinking about on a daily basis is what's going to be the next big thing, right? There's so much stuff. It's becoming increasingly easy and affordable to do cold outreach on a large scale. What is in the end going to make a difference? That's a very interesting one.
Maybe WhatsApp will be next. Just gonna start targeting, make it that super personal then.
Like if that's gonna, like we've also fantasized about that. Like imagine if you could, like for example, cold Slack people, cold WhatsApp people. But if then all hell breaks loose because I already struggle with like my current contacts to keep up with on WhatsApp. And if there's also like cold stuff coming in there, then like I'm done. Then there's no way I'm going to be able to use WhatsApp anymore.
No, definitely. I agree. I think WhatsApp is more for personal, it's to chat to your friends, family, whoever you want to. But also I agree with what you said earlier. Most of the time when I get a message with a connection, I always send a connection request, no message. That's how you get more connections. And then I'll be connected with the person for like a while before I'll send like the first video, maybe like some of their posts, if their posts come up.
That's brilliant.
We do have cadences set up for like a LinkedIn cadence or sequence, so you can properly manage, your connections. But even like yesterday, I had a guy, or it was actually earlier today, I had a guy with a message, and it like sounded a bit interesting, but I accepted it. And as soon as I accepted, like 5 of these messages came through. The one was quite long, and then like a link to his work, and I was like, no, you almost want to just unconnect straight away.
Exactly. It's also funny how some people use LinkedIn as like an emailing tool where they send like this huge messages where you actually have to scroll to get through the entire message. That's not how it works. It's for a reason that like the window is only this big and it only fits 3 sentences. Like get to the point.
LinkedIn's also an app on a phone, just like your email. So you want to make them short. So if someone reads it on their phone, it just pops up. But LinkedIn's like, it's like email's the formal version, LinkedIn's the more relaxed version. I feel like shorter messages, you in like a chat in a way. It's in between emailing and WhatsApping in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Nice. That's very, very helpful and very insightful. One last question from my side. If you were to have all the time, money, power, experience, stuff like that in the world, you could design the ultimate SaaS tool for you. What would be the one feature where you're like, that has to be in there?
I would say, is it AI based or just like a SaaS tool?
Whatever
mean,
you need, whatever you need.
I
Preferably
mean,
something that does not exist yet that we can build, of course. But like
oh,
the
okay. Because I
the
was
one
gonna
thing
say
that
like,
you're missing in your current play, where you're like, oh man,
yeah, yeah.
I hate it that they still haven't figured this out yet.
Definitely. I mean, I was gonna say if it's just like a SaaS tool and I can only use that tool, then it would be like maybe like keeping my leads like a CRM and outreach. But if it's something
Yeah,
that hasn't been done, that I'd say what like a current kind of not struggle, but when I'm taking the meeting, like I'll take a meeting and then you got to go and make notes and you've got to come up with like coming up with a follow-up email is not a problem for me.
yeah,
But as an AE, particularly, I know like if an SDR had to be speaking, they would be looking more at the research part because I know that that's something that our team struggles with, like doing the research, finding the information.
yeah.
Most of the time, like it's not being done properly. But for me, the one thing that I don't currently have, other than that's like what you guys currently do, is something that's super interesting that we don't have. But I would also say that like a meeting recording, because sometimes I'm taking the meeting by myself. Sometimes the SDR is on the meeting and they're taking notes. But if I'm on the meeting by myself, which is a lot of the time, there's no one taking notes. I'm like writing down notes, also trying to think of the next thing to say. Like it would be nice if there was just a tool that kind of sorted that out for you. I'm sure there is, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot, and I can also totally understand the value in that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we round up this interview, is there anything that you want to share with our viewers, listeners, about yourself, Churned, or anything else?
Um, I mean, briefly, I've mentioned kind of everything. We've had a really good conversation. Just regarding Churned, I mean, I kind of mentioned in the beginning, but like you guys are leveraging AI, right? Yeah, like we leveraging AI. It's a cost-effective customer success solution, helping with retention, uncovering upselling opportunities, maximizing existing customer revenues. Basically, that's like our value proposition.
Awesome.
Just because we were chatting on that, but I mean, just to add, I think what Luna's doing is amazing, super cool. Or I think the key in the future is convenience. Convenience for people is just, you know, and also it's convenient, but now it's helping you with your time. You can strategize and use your time better. So also kind of props to you guys for
Appreciate that.
doing what you're doing. It's really good. And it'll be exciting to see where it goes. I know it's the beginning stages and it's already doing well. So that's good.
Appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So for everyone that is watching that is in a B2B SaaS company, because apparently it works really well for that. If you are an AE and you do not want to see everything go down the drain after you've closed the deal, you should check out Churned.io.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome. Very well. Thank you very much for jumping on, Declan. Really love the insights that you shared and having you on this conversation. And for everyone that is watching, hopefully see you again at the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.